What's up, guys? This is the second video about this gun, this 7.5 inch 5.56 AR15 cheek pistol, dedicated suppressed build. If you missed the first video, I talk about all the reasons why this gun makes sense and what we should be comparing it to. Go check that video out. We're gonna go from one end to the other. I'm gonna tell you what it is and why I chose that. General theme, so I don't get bogged down, is that a lot of these components, whenever there's two things that are roughly the same use or quality, but one is lighter, I'll go with the lighter option. And because of that, when I strip all the accessories off of this gun and the suppressor and magazine out, this is like a 4.5 pound AR. So here goes. Starting at the back here, this is a Strike Industries short buffer kit. It is the whole buffer system. So it's the tube, the spring, and the buffer. They're using a shortened dead blow buffer. They're using a flat wire spring, and they're using 70-75 aluminum. This is a solid product. I've put quite a few rounds through this now, no issues. Other thing I like about this is they're using a flat wire spring. It's their flat wire spring, but it is flat wire spring tech. If you don't know, they have a much longer life than GI style or standard mil-spec springs do. A standard GI spring is supposed to last like 3,000 rounds. Some will say 5,000 rounds. What I see is that they typically start performing poorly and causing malfunctions at the 2,000 round mark. All of the flat wire springs that I've run, regardless of manufacturer, so Tubbs, Strike Industries, Spike I think in there, all of those have run without malfunctions for longer than the life of a barrel. That's all I care about. I'm shooting a barrel out at roughly 25 to 30,000 rounds, maybe a little bit over that if it's a slow fire gun. And I'll replace the spring, but these springs are supposed to last up to 50,000 cycles, so that's worth it. That's the buffer system in there. The end plate on here, it's a QD end plate. I don't use QD mounts anymore. It's just one that I had lying around. So when I tear this down again, I will add an end plate that allows me to direct attach the sling there. This is the sling that I'm using is a Proctor sling. It's a double girth hitch attachment sling. That is the style that I prefer because they're rugged, they're simple, and they're lightweight. Forward of that, got the upper and lower receiver. This is, there's nothing special here, guys. This is kind of what I had around. Moving into the stuff that's in these. So I've got a Fortis clutch, right side only charging handle. Talked about those handles before. Reason I like them is because the cheek pistol, so I'm putting my cheek on the tube to get the maximum amount of control for fast splits and precision. And when I need to, I'll run in front of the charging handle with my cheek up here to get really tiny and move easily through spaces and have quick up times with elevated muzzle if I want to. And this charging handle allows me to choose anywhere in between. If I had a standard mil-spec charging handle, I would be jabbing myself in the cheek or the jaw or bopping my nose with that charging handle. Not a fan of doing that. So it's just on the right side for that reason. The other reason is I like the right side charging handles because if you've ever had to sling a gun and walk a long way, then you can tell me how painful that charging handle knob is when it's just digging a hole through your soul and beating the hell out of your sternum, bouncing around. So this is slick, easier to carry for that. That's important to me because occasionally every few years I sign up for something like the Competition Dynamics Sniper Adventure Challenge, where it's like a 48 continuous hour race where you're carrying all of your gear and ammo with you the entire time, and you're doing like, I don't know, 5,000 feet elevation change and 60 miles. You hike until your toenails fall off. You want light guns, you want guns that don't have the nasty stuff on them that beat you up. So that's one of the reasons why there. Moving forward, Reptilia grip on here. This is the CQR grip. It's a little shorter, it's very upright. That's the features that I like here. A very proud standing grip, not a rotated or canted grip. The other grips that I like that are okay for that are the B5 Grip 23 or the Umbrella Corp Grip 23, same product, different companies. I've fallen out of love with the SIG CQB grip because it's too shallow right here, which crowds my trigger finger. This is a lightweight bolt carrier. I believe this is an AIM Surplus lightweight bolt carrier that I got a long time ago. I've also run the Brownells lightweight carriers. I prefer a lightweight carrier. It significantly reduces felt recoil. So these are not heavy recoiling guns anyway, but you feel it a little bit more in a lighter gun. And with a lightweight carrier in there and proper tuning, I think this gun kicks about as hard as a 22 Magnum. So it's nice. Lightweight carrier really helps with that. When you're doing it, make sure that your bolt and your barrel match up and play nice with each other. Head spacing is a thing. Also, I suggest going with a good quality bolt. So like magnetic particle inspected stuff. Yeah. Inside of the lower fire control group there, what we have is a standard parts kit with the addition of, I believe this is the Magpul, the short throw selectors, whether it's a 30 or a 45. I like them both. I don't like a 90-degree selector. I do like an ambi selector. I do like the shorter control on the right side, so it's not interfering with the finger over here when it is depressed. Yeah, I like that. I don't clip springs. I want that stiff action there so that it doesn't accidentally swipe on gear and go into fire. Only other thing that is different than a standard parts kit is the ALG trigger here. ALG mil-spec trigger. They are nickel boron coated and polished up nicely. The only other one that I like to run that is like this is the Palmetto State Armory enhanced trigger, which is much the same. I can't really tell the difference between the two. So whichever one you like. I like a single stage trigger though. I'll leave a link to the description, link in the description for the Magwell here, but it's very minimalistic. And while I'm here, I'll show you guys that this is indeed a clear gun. This Magwell is really nice. It's just enough to help you feed without being huge and gamery. It's 3D printed and it is very light because of that. So it's not really adding anything to the gun. I've never had it fall off or move on me. I've never broken one. This one is old, guys. It's been beat on. So it works. Moving back up to the top here, we've got the optic. This is the Primary Arms SLX Prism optic. It's a 1X prism. I really like that. Few reasons why I like this optic a lot. Super clear. I have an astigmatism. This is super crisp to see the chevron. I prefer a chevron for a rifle or a pistol or any defense short range gun. I prefer the chevron over the dot. Just, it lets me be a little more precise. And then you got the donut of death around it that is also awesome to have. I'll probably never use the ranging features built into this, but you know, they're there, they don't distract. I have this set up on a double riser here, so all the risers come with this optic. I'm using a straight rise and then the aggressive highest cantilever forward, and I'm mounting that as far forward on the gun as I can, because that is what facilitates really cramped, tight in on the optic shooting when I want to get small. This 1X is awesome because the eye box and the eye relief on it are huge. The eye relief on this is basically infinite. So I can cheek it all the way back here and still have perfect vision through that optic. I like the 1X or the 1X prisms also because I like when I think about running night vision stuff. So when I go play around in the dark, PVS 14 behind this, I can cheek this gun, and that PVS 14 sits with the perfect amount of standoff all the way up until I'm almost touching nose to charging handle, and it's effortless, guys. That chevron is right there when I cheek this gun. So boom, that's easy. This is easy. It's right there. I don't have to do all the derpy shit that you guys have to do when you're running braces and stocks, where you're like fighting all of the gear on your head. This is just, it's exactly the same as I shoot without night vision on as when I put that stuff on my head. I also really like that this is truly passive. So through night vision, I don't even turn this optic on because I can view the reticle, the etched reticle, very clearly through that through that PVS-14. So for night vision guys, something to consider. A very strong perk of running a cheek pistol, a very strong perk of running this style of setup. Forward of that, we've got the Faxon 10.5 carbon fiber handguard here. It gives me a place for my hand. So it's a 7.5 barrel, it's a 10.5 handguard, and it's big enough to go over the suppressor that I'm using. That's a big deal. I don't want to use a metal handguard there because it will just get really hot and stay really hot quickly. This does not get hot, and it is ventilated enough. It allows the suppressor in the barrel to dump heat pretty rapidly. I can do 2 mags as fast as I can through this exact setup, and I'm still able to grip the gun. About halfway through the 3rd mag, it gets uncomfortable and I want to wear a glove. That's fine. This gun is not built for the, prolonged fantasy LARPing firefight that you see in the movies in mind. This is more a down-to-earth defense role where I realize that I'm probably never going to get to a 2nd mag. Cool. But I want the 10.5 handguard because most of my experience in running a AR is driving that hand that far out and no further. So this lets me keep all of that symmetry and training there. And it lets me get my arm basically out to that sweet spot of extension, same as pistol, and it lets me get the furthest back and the furthest forward points on the gun, so that ideally I would be running, I want my hand as close to that muzzle as possible for maximum control and swing that I can. So if I went longer on this, I could get a longer handguard, but my arm isn't any longer than that, so it's fine. Underneath this handguard, I have a ballistics advantage barrel that has been aggressively chamber brushed / really lightly chamber honed. I find that I have to do that with the ballistic advantage barrels, otherwise they get stuck cases. I find that I have to do that with just about every barrel out there. It runs everything now. The first couple rounds I put through it, I did experience some stuck cases. I was expecting that. Now it doesn't after that treatment. The gas block on here is a arrow adjustable gas block. The only other one that I run and recommend is the Superlative Arms adjustable gas block. Both of those use a small wrench, which I keep on the gun, to adjust the gas, and it's very easy to adjust that. On a longer gun, like an 11.5, I will be taking the suppressor off and putting it back on, and it's really easy for me to do when on my guns is 1/2 of a revolution or just 2 clicks over, and I go from that gun running perfectly gassed suppressed to perfectly gassed unsuppressed. This being a dedicated suppressed build, I don't need that. The other benefit of the Superlative over the Arrow is the venting feature. Also not going to be used on this gun or anything anything 11.5 and shorter. So there's that. Those gas blocks are solid. The other style of adjustable double set screw things are garbage. I stay away from them. They fail. Those set screws will walk out. You'll lose them. Your gas will change. The gun will fail. This is a direct thread can. Not going to go into details on the suppressor. You do you for suppressors. There are plenty of suppressors that are rated for 7.5 inch barrels or no barrel length restrictions at all that are 5.56 capable, and they're good. This can is, I bias towards a shorter can. I bias towards a lighter can. I bias towards a 30 caliber can, not a 5.56 can, even though I know this is a 5.56 gun. It may be a little bit louder on the decibel meter, but what you'll notice is when you put a 30 cal can on a 5.56 gun, the tone is much deeper. So the high-pitched hiss that comes out of 5.56 cans it leaves me with a ringing ear at the end of the day, sometimes even through ear pro. Same thing with AK ping, like the pinging of that metal, that rings in my ear. I dislike that. The lower tone of this does not give me that sensation ever. So the low versus the ps, that's what I prefer. I want the lower notes. So 30 cal can on there, you choose your own adventure on that one. The light on here is a mod light on some, I think this is an Arasaka mount. So it works, the mod light, OKW, excellent light. Other stuff here on the front of the gun. So I've got the key for the adjustable gas system so that I can adjust on the fly if I need to. I could very easily turn this up to oppressively gassed and it would run with mud and garbage in the action. Honestly, it runs with frozen stuff in the action right now as I tested just recently. And I also have a full-length bore rod, solid carbon fiber. So it's nice and lightweight, but it allows me to throw that down the bore and knock out a stuck case if I have one. That stuff happens on all ammo, on all barrels if you shoot enough. It just will happen. The bore rod lets me get the stuck case out. The other thing that I have had happen is walking and running, being really tired and like slipping and having a muzzle go into the ground. This allows me to knock out an obstruction from the barrel. Maybe not a squib, it's not a squib rod, but it will allow me to knock out a dirt clod so that I could still have a gun running and so I don't blow myself up. I recommend having that on there. This one is part of the F-More kit that is going to be available very soon on demonstratedconcepts.com. That kit is going to come with the bore rod. It is also going to come with this sling pouch here. And that pouch will come with a small bottle that you can fill with lubricant. So this is a full lube bottle on there. And with that bottle in this pouch on the sling, it gives you just enough room for you to put in one extra little tool. You could put in a BCG scraper. You could put in a spare bolt. What I would recommend putting in there is a torn case extractor. So then you can address all of the catastrophic malfunctions that ARs experience with some frequency. You can extract that torn case out. You can knock out that stuck case. You can also run the bore if you have like an obstruction in the bore. So just enough room there for that. So that's our build, guys. Pretty easy to put something like this together for not a lot of money. The only other thing I'll add on here is the magazine. I have the magazine in there to show you that it is a key component of this system, of all builds, right? You run garbage mags and you get garbage results. I bias towards old school PMags. I like that. They haven't failed me. I've not seen many issues with the Lancers. The only other mags that I'll run are the old school aluminum GI mags, not because I think they're great and reliable, but because sometimes if I'm using this as a gun in some sort of distance competition, like that Competition Dynamics SAC, just going to all aluminum mags is going to shave a healthy amount of ounces off of my loadout for that competition. So less weight on the body equals easier miles. There you go, guys. As always, you like this stuff, please like, subscribe, hit the buttons, guys. It's super helpful for the channel. If you want to see more of this stuff, you want more in-depth stuff, you want to have conversations with me, go to the link in the description, go to my Patreon, sign up there, show me some love, and join that conversation. As always, guys, thank you, keep training, stay safe.